Have you ever imagined a player preparing for the biggest tournament of his life, only to see that dream disappear because of a single decision? One of South Africa's most talked about rugby forwards was building momentum, earning attention, and pushing toward what many believed could be a defining chapter of his career. But now everything has changed. The news has shocked rugby fans across South Africa and beyond. A player once seen as a potential World Cup contributor is now facing a lengthy suspension that will keep him out of the sport during one of the most important periods of his career. And the most dramatic part? His ban is scheduled to end on the exact day of the Rugby World Cup final. That means even if his country reaches the biggest match in world rugby, he will not be able to take part. Today we are talking about Asenathi Ntlabakanye, the doping case that has rocked South African rugby, the substances involved, the official ruling, the reaction from his club, and what this means for his future. Before we continue, if you enjoy rugby news, analysis, and major updates from around the world, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you never miss the stories shaping the future of the game. For many rugby supporters, Asenathi Ntlabakanye represented a player with enormous potential. The powerful prop had worked hard to establish himself at the professional level and was becoming a familiar name among fans following South African rugby. Props often do not receive the same spotlight as flashy backs or prolific try scorers, but they are among the most important players on the field. They provide the platform for the entire team, dominating scrums, carrying the ball into contact, and doing much of the hard work that rarely makes the highlight reels. That is why the rise of Asenathi Ntlabakanye had generated significant interest. However, that rise has now been interrupted by a doping violation that has resulted in a lengthy suspension. According to reports, the case dates back to an out-of-competition drug test conducted in May 2025. Testing outside of matches is a critical part of modern anti-doping programs because it helps authorities identify prohibited substance use regardless of whether an athlete is actively competing. In this case, the sample provided by Asenathi Ntlabakanye returned what authorities described as an adverse analytical finding. As investigations progressed, the matter became increasingly serious. Eventually, formal charges were brought against the player. The substances involved became a major focus of the case. One of the substances identified was anastrozole, a hormone and metabolic modulator. In addition, Asenathi Ntlabakanye also self-declared the use of DHEA, an anabolic steroid that appears on the list of prohibited substances. These developments triggered anti-doping procedures and led to a hearing before an independent panel. The process took time. Investigations, evidence reviews, hearings, and legal considerations are all standard components of major anti-doping cases. Athletes are given opportunities to present explanations and evidence, while anti-doping authorities assess the circumstances surrounding the case. Earlier this year, the hearing finally took place. Following the review process, the independent panel reached its decision. The verdict was significant. An 18-month suspension was imposed on Asenathi Ntlabakanye. The suspension officially begins on May 13, 2026. While some fans immediately focused on the length of the ban, others quickly realized the timing might be even more devastating. The suspension is scheduled to conclude on November 13th. That date happens to be the day of the Rugby World Cup final. In practical terms, it means Asenathi Ntlabakanye will miss the entire tournament. For any rugby player, missing a World Cup is heartbreaking. For a South African player, the significance is arguably even greater. South Africa is one of rugby's most successful nations and enters every World Cup with enormous expectations. The opportunity to represent the Springboks on the sport's biggest stage is something players spend their entire careers chasing. Many talented players never get the chance. Others receive only one opportunity. That is why the timing of this suspension is being viewed as such a massive setback. Even if Asenathi Ntlabakanye had been in contention for selection, that possibility has effectively disappeared. The reaction across rugby circles has been intense. Some supporters have expressed disappointment. Others have raised broader concerns about anti-doping compliance within professional rugby. And many are asking difficult questions about how situations like this can occur in modern elite sport. Anti-doping systems exist to protect fairness, athlete welfare, and the integrity of competition. Every professional athlete understands the importance of complying with those regulations. Violations can carry serious consequences, not only for the player involved but also for teams, coaches, and the reputation of the sport itself. The case has also generated attention because of the wider discussion surrounding testing in rugby. Recent reports have already sparked debate regarding testing levels and anti-doping oversight within the game. As a result, the suspension of Asenathi Ntlabakanye arrives at a time when scrutiny is already increasing. Meanwhile, attention has also turned toward the possibility of appeals. The process is not necessarily over. According to the ruling, Asenathi Ntlabakanye, SEDS, World Rugby, and WADA have a limited period in which they can challenge the decision. Any appeal would be directed to the Court of Arbitration for Sport, commonly known as CAS. CAS has handled many of the most significant sporting disputes in the world. From Olympic controversies to major anti-doping cases, the organization plays a central role in resolving sports-related legal matters. Whether any party decides to appeal remains to be seen. For now, the suspension stands. The response from the Lions Rugby Company has also attracted attention. In an official statement, the organization acknowledged receiving communication regarding the sanction imposed on Asenathi Ntlabakanye. The club indicated that discussions would take place regarding the appropriate next steps. Importantly, the Lions also stated that they would continue supporting the player as he navigates the process ahead. That aspect of the story is significant. While disciplinary measures are an essential part of professional sport, clubs often face the challenge of balancing accountability with player welfare. Athletes involved in high-profile cases frequently experience immense public pressure, criticism, and uncertainty regarding their careers. Support systems can therefore play an important role during difficult periods. The coming months will likely be challenging for Asenathi Ntlabakanye. An 18-month absence from professional competition is substantial. Maintaining fitness is one thing. Maintaining competitive sharpness is another. Rugby is a physically demanding sport where timing, conditioning, and match experience are crucial. Being away from competition for such a long period can have lasting effects. When the suspension finally ends, Asenathi Ntlabakanye will face the difficult task of rebuilding momentum and convincing coaches that he deserves another opportunity. History shows that comebacks are possible. Many athletes across different sports have returned after lengthy suspensions and rebuilt successful careers. But the road back is rarely easy. Public perception can be difficult to change. Selection opportunities can become limited. And younger players often emerge during a veteran's absence. That means competition for places may be even stronger when Asenathi Ntlabakanye becomes eligible again. The biggest question now is what happens next. Will there be an appeal? Will the suspension remain unchanged? Can Asenathi Ntlabakanye successfully rebuild his career after serving the ban? And how will this case influence future discussions about anti-doping measures in rugby? Those questions will continue to dominate conversations in the months ahead. What is certain is that one of the most important periods of Asenathi Ntlabakanye's career has taken a dramatic and unexpected turn. A player once looking ahead to rugby's greatest stage is now facing a very different challenge. Instead of preparing for a World Cup, he must focus on navigating a suspension, rebuilding trust, and preparing for life after the ban. Whether this story ultimately becomes one of redemption or regret remains to be seen. But for now, the rugby world is watching closely. What do you think about the suspension handed to Asenathi Ntlabakanye? Do you believe the ruling is fair? And should there be an appeal? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more rugby news, analysis, and major updates from around the world, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next big rugby story. Have you ever